Today, I'm going to be talking to you about how to overcome your dysfunctional family. How do you know if you have a dysfunctional family? A dysfunctional family is one where, when you grew up, you were not free to express who you really were, that you had to adapt in a variety of ways. For example, one way people adapt is by having to be a people pleaser. They find that if they had to express who they really were and express their anger or express their own wish, they weren't allowed to. Maybe their parents were young in immaturity, and so they had to adapt to parents that were emotionally immature. Or maybe you grew up in a family where there was abuse or neglect, and maybe you learned to believe certain negative things about yourself, like I'm not worthy or I don't matter. Why would you believe you don't matter? It's not because you don't matter. It's because your one parent or your both parents weren't able to treat you like you were significant. And it's because of their limitations. It's not you. It's them. They were too preoccupied to notice you. They were too preoccupied to be interested in you. And so if you grew up in a family such as that, yes, you have a belief system that you are not significant. And then you follow that up with behaviors that make you appear like you're not significant. Maybe you don't speak up. Maybe you're a wallflower. Maybe you don't take risks. There's lots of things that people do that is really about their past. And what I like to do, what I want to do when I help people, is help them get beyond their past. But I'm going to give you a few bullets of information that you could do on your own with some help from good friends that will help you get beyond your past. First thing you want to do is be aware of your adaptation. What was your adaptation? Do you have a belief that you don't matter? Do you have a belief that you are not good enough? Do you have a belief that the only way you get your needs met is if you get melodramatic, or yell, or scream, or have a tantrum? By the way, if that's what you do, you probably came from a family where the parents weren't sensitive to your needs. And so to get their attention, the negative attention, that's what you did. Well, being aware of any of these kinds of behaviors, and there are other examples as well, it allows you to go, what is the opposite of that? What would I do if I was healthier, if I came from a healthier background? Because you don't want your past to define you. Define yourself as, I am already healthy. I just got to practice the opposite belief. I got to just practice the opposite behavior. So again, just using one of the examples, if you go around feeling like I don't matter, ask yourself, what would I say to myself? What would be the conversations in my head if I believed I matter? Maybe you'd say some positive affirmations like, I matter. How would you act? How would you act if you felt like you mattered? You'd probably speak up. Maybe if you disagreed with what the group was talking about, you would disagree. It's a little scary at first, but you take that chance. You go opposite of that self-protective, adaptive behavior you did before. You would ask yourself, how would I feel inside? What would be the great feeling I have when I knew I stood up for myself and I treated myself like I was worthy? And even imagine it. Imagine a scenario where maybe in the past you didn't speak up, but this time you did. You do not have to let your past dictate your present and your future. Now what will help is to have what I call co-conspirators of growth. These are 1, 2 people, maybe 3 people that you're really close to, that you could go to them and say, look, I have this pattern that's holding me back for more joy, more success, and I want to practice new behaviors. I'm going to experiment, and I want to use you as an experimentee. You're the person I'm going to experiment with. Use those people. These are the people that are going to really help you. It's a lot easier to begin with people that are working with you, and then you could transfer it to other people. Ultimately, even your own family of origin, where you had the original adaptation too. Now those people are typically not going to applaud for you in your new behaviors because you learned those beliefs and you learned those behaviors to adapt and to make your parents feel comfortable. None of this was intentional, but this is what happens more unconsciously. So when you start to be healthier, your closest family members might feel more anxious and they will probably work against you. That's where you got to keep turning to your co-conspirators of growth and keep practicing these new behaviors. Saying to yourself, acting as if what would I feel? How would I feel? Having a mental picture that has you acting differently. And then the last thing I want to say is sometimes it's really, really important to seek a professional therapist such as myself. I've helped many people who overcame their past, who became freer, who were able to even overcome abuse and neglect with some of the tools that someone like myself uses to help people quickly get past it. So continue to use your buddies, continue to have a vision of that things could be a lot differently, and get help as you need it. This is Todd Creager, making the world safe for love.